The world watches with bated breath as the headlines paint a picture of turmoil and uncertainty. From the Middle East to Eastern Europe, conflicts rage on, leaving devastation in their wake. From the shores of the Philippines, battered by relentless storms, to the global economy teetering on the brink, a series of crises has gripped our planet, each one more daunting than the last. The news is filled with images of conflict, displacement, and natural disasters, painting a grim picture of our current reality. It can be overwhelming, even disheartening, to see the sheer scale of human suffering and environmental destruction. But it is precisely in these times that staying informed becomes paramount. Knowledge is our first line of defense. We must understand the events shaping our world, the decisions made by leaders, and the geopolitical dynamics at play. The human cost of these crises is staggering, with countless lives disrupted and futures uncertain. The ripple effects extend far beyond the immediate headlines, affecting global trade, economies, and even social stability. This essay will delve into some of the most pressing global issues today, examining their roots and potential solutions. Shedding light on the complexities and urging a sense of shared responsibility, we aim to foster a deeper understanding. This is not just about being informed, it's about engaging in meaningful dialogue and education. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and working towards a better, more peaceful future. We are all interconnected, and the suffering of one part of the world affects us all. Our actions or inactions have far-reaching consequences. By understanding these global challenges, we can begin to engage in meaningful conversations, support those in need, and advocate for a more just and compassionate world. Every small action counts, from local community support to international aid. Together, we can build a future where crises are met with resilience, compassion, and a united effort to create lasting peace and stability. The conflict between Israel and Iran continues to cast a long shadow over the Middle East. This ongoing struggle has deep historical roots and is influenced by a complex web of political, religious, and territorial disputes. The animosity between these two nations has shaped the geopolitical landscape of the region for decades. Recent events have escalated tensions, raising fears of a wider conflict. Incidents such as drone attacks, cyber warfare, and proxy battles have become more frequent, adding layers of complexity to an already volatile situation. The stakes are high, and the consequences of missteps could be catastrophic. Israel has launched airstrikes against Iranian-backed targets in Syria, citing the need to prevent weapons smuggling and deter attacks on its soil. These preemptive strikes are part of a broader strategy to maintain security and assert military dominance in the region. The precision and frequency of these operations underscore the seriousness with which Israel views the threat from Iran. These strikes have resulted in casualties, further fueling the cycle of violence. The human cost is significant, with both military personnel and civilians caught in the crossfire. The aftermath of these attacks often leaves communities devastated and deepens the animosity between the two nations. The international community has expressed deep concern over the escalating situation, urging both sides to exercise restraint and seek diplomatic solutions. Various diplomatic efforts have been made to mediate the conflict, but finding common ground has proven to be an elusive goal. The role of global powers in this conflict adds another layer of complexity to the peace process. The risk of miscalculation remains high, and the potential for a broader conflict is a sobering reminder of the fragility of peace in the region. The interconnected nature of Middle Eastern politics means that a single incident can quickly spiral out of control, drawing in neighboring countries and potentially leading to a larger, more destructive war. The path to lasting peace remains fraught with challenges, but the pursuit of stability is more crucial than ever. The Gaza Strip, home to over 2 million Palestinians, is facing a dire humanitarian crisis. The ongoing conflict, coupled with a crippling blockade, has left the population struggling to survive. Hospitals are overwhelmed, essential supplies are dwindling, and the threat of disease outbreaks looms large. The international community has condemned the dire situation in Gaza, calling for an immediate ceasefire and increased humanitarian aid. The plight of the Palestinian people serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict and the urgent need for a peaceful resolution. The Philippines, an archipelago nation prone to natural disasters, was recently hit by tropical storm Trami. The storm brought torrential rains, strong winds, and widespread flooding, causing significant damage to infrastructure and displacing thousands of people. Rescue efforts are underway, but the full extent of the devastation is still being assessed. The Philippines is no stranger to the destructive power of nature, and the resilience of its people is commendable. However, the frequency and intensity of these storms underscore the growing threat of climate change and the urgent need for global action to mitigate its impacts. Section 5, Ukraine, the unending battle. The war in Ukraine grinds on with no end in sight. The conflict has already claimed countless lives, displaced millions, and left a trail of destruction across the country. Key cities remain under siege, and the humanitarian situation is dire. The international community continues to condemn Russia's aggression and provide support to Ukraine. However, finding a peaceful resolution to this conflict remains a daunting challenge. The war in Ukraine is a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict and the fragility of peace in our world. Section 6. The global economy, a sea of uncertainty. In recent times, the world has been navigating through a tumultuous period marked by unprecedented economic challenges. The confluence of these global crises has sent shockwaves through the global economy. Energy prices are soaring to new heights, supply chains are severely disrupted, and store shelves are increasingly empty. As a result, inflation is on the rise, making everyday life more expensive for people around the world. Families are struggling to keep up with the rising costs of essential goods and services. The war in Ukraine has exacerbated these challenges, adding another layer of complexity to an already fragile global economy. The conflict has disrupted trade routes and created uncertainty in international markets. This has led to growing concerns about food security, as agricultural production is affected, and fears of an impending economic recession loom large. Governments around the world are grappling with these economic headwinds, holding emergency meetings and discussing strategies to stabilize their economies. They are trying to mitigate the impact on their citizens by rolling out social welfare programs and distributing government aid to those in need. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that these challenges are felt far beyond the immediate zones of conflict. Countries that are not directly involved in the conflict are also experiencing the ripple effects. This situation highlights the urgent need for international cooperation and coordinated action. World leaders are coming together in summits and meetings to find collective solutions to these pressing issues, emphasizing the importance of global solidarity in times of crisis. Section 7. A call for peace and unity. In these turbulent times, it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the challenges we face, but we must not succumb to despair. Instead, let these crises serve as a wake-up call, a reminder of our shared humanity and the urgent need for peace and unity. We must demand better from our leaders, urging them to prioritize diplomacy, dialogue, and peaceful resolutions to conflicts. We must hold those responsible for atrocities accountable and work towards a world where international law and human rights are respected. Section 8. The power of global awareness. Staying informed about global events is not just about being aware of the problems, it's about empowering ourselves to be part of the solution. When we understand the complexities of these issues, we can engage in more meaningful conversations, challenge misinformation, and advocate for change. We can support organizations providing humanitarian aid, donate to relief efforts, and amplify the voices of those directly affected by these crises. Every action, no matter how small, can make a difference. Section 9. Understanding our interconnected world. The global crises we face today highlight the interconnectedness of our world. What happens in one part of the world inevitably affects us all, whether it's through the flow of refugees, the spread of disease, or the disruption of global supply chains. This interconnectedness is not a weakness, but a strength. It means that we have a shared responsibility to address these challenges together. We must move beyond national borders and embrace a global perspective, recognizing that our collective well-being depends on the well-being of all. Section 10. The importance of compassion and action. In the face of such widespread suffering, it's easy to feel helpless, but compassion without action is meaningless. We must channel our empathy into concrete actions that can make a difference. Support organizations working on the ground. Contact your elected officials to demand action, and use your voice to raise awareness about these issues. Every act of kindness, every voice raised in solidarity, brings us closer to a more just and compassionate world. Section 11. Looking towards a brighter future. The challenges we face are daunting, but we must not lose hope. Throughout history, humanity has overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. We have the capacity for great compassion, innovation, and resilience. By working together, by choosing hope over despair, and by demanding a better future for all, we can create a world where peace prevails, where human rights are respected, and where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. The path forward is clear. It's time for action, for solidarity, and for a renewed commitment to building a brighter future for all.